Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Maxi here once again, and I am back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos as always. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure for the PlayStation 2/Nintendo GameCube. So, last time, we essentially did manage to finish up everything in terms of the forms of Piglet's birthday. Now, despite the fact that we're still missing some couple of those musical notes, but I suppose we will be back for that particular birthday until for later. So as a result, yeah, we did somehow obtain every single honey pot, and especially noticeable, we did somehow receive the actual broom for Piglet. So today for this video is about the fact that we're about to continue things on and move on to the next birthday, which appears to be by the forms of Rue's birthday. So as you can tell, the honey pots count is now up to 105, so expecting about the fact that certain birthday stages might feel a bit slightly lengthy, but I'm sure we're able to actually get this in time. So either way though, I wonder what Rue's birthdays are going to be throughout this time, so...
And as Pooh remembered his friend Rue's birthday, he forgot all about his hungry tummy.
Today is Rue's birthday, and I haven't found a present for him yet. I think I shall ask Kanga if she knows what Rue likes best.
Alright, so let's get started with the forms of Rue's birthday. So, as you can tell about the fact that, like I said before, unlike in Piglet's Big Game, that has already stated this earlier, that unfortunately there's no way we can able to experience unique themes in terms of the forms of the actual worlds. So, yeah, you get the idea. It's about the fact that it's entirely taking place in 100 Acre Wood. But there are some sections have been closed off, whilst other times that we can now able to actually access to different parts of the forms of the 100 Acre Wood itself. So either way, as always, we'll go ahead and able to actually grab some more honey pots. And by the way, the actual honey pots has gone to 0, but that's just because about the fact that we somehow moved on to the next stage. So, yeah, you probably get the idea about this particular topic as far as this is concerned. So, you know, of course, about the fact that this will be a 400% playthrough, as I said this before. Well, despite the fact that it's actually super duper easy to able to get honey pots in this game, especially noticeable that, again, it functions the same way as cookies, except the fact that it's now going to be shorter amount. So, oh look.
Hello, Kanga. I'm trying to find a surprise to give Rue for his birthday, and I thought you might know what he likes best.
Oh, how kind of you, Pooh Bear. I know Rue would really like to learn how to do Tigger's whoop-de-dooper bounce. That would be a very nice present for you to give him.
Oh, that's a wonderful idea, Kanga. But I think I shall need Tigger to help me.
I'm not certain where Tigger is, but perhaps you could ask Rabbit. I know he's in the forest.
At least we meet up with Kanga, so because of that, yeah, normally in Journey forms within Piglet's birthday stage, basically we can't go through here, because obviously about the fact, as I said before, it's basically a tutorial kind of part. So either way, we can now able to actually explore a different section. So because of that, just to see something new around here. But of course, every once in a while though, is about the fact that once we get to the forms of not only Eeyol's birthday, or Tigger's birthday, or especially noticeable with Pooh's birthday, sometimes we will come across into certain reuse areas every once in a while, especially noticeable for some exploration involved, so...
Hello, Rabbit. Have you seen Tigger, by any chance?
Tigger? Why, yes, Pooh Bear, he's at home. Oh, but wait a minute, I'm afraid you can't get there. You see, all of Tigger's bouncing has caused a landslide and blocked the path, and without a shovel, well, it's impossible to get by.
I wonder where I could find a shovel.
Well, I'm sure I saw one on the way to Piglet's house. And now you'll need a turn handle to make the bridge come down, though.
Anyway, so hopefully we're able to actually just to keep on collecting some more honey pots, and so we can able to get rid of those bees exponentially. So anyway, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is that today's date is of course the 27th of December today, in this case in 2023 today. Not much else to talk about, I'm afraid, apart from the fact that still I'm really looking forward to see what 2024 actually holds up to be, especially noticeable about the fact that hopefully exponentially in 2024 2024 and onwards that we can pretty much guarantee to able to focus on, not only for certain Let's Plays coming up, but also with the forms of trying out certain games throughout the majority of the forms of 2024 and onwards. But either way, as far as anything else I would like to explain, well, there's actually one other thing I surprisingly forgot to comment on back in during the forms of in a previous part of this. That is about the fact that recently, during about 2 days ago, roughly, in the UK's release during that time, happy 30th anniversary of the release of Wallace and Gromit's The Wrong Trousers. And let me tell you, while looking back in 30 years ago, it still is my favorite short in the entire trilogy, in my opinion, so... especially because of my nostalgia base when it comes to likely remembering the actual shorts since on the VHS days, so... Anyway, so I made a mistake from earlier, but that's just because about the fact that I did not realize that we haven't got the shuffle yet. So in some cases we got ourselves a handle, so... But then again though, it's been about a couple of hours since I actually have last played this game, because I somehow managed able to get a lot of addictive to it when it comes to not only Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which at this point in time, I'm actually getting very close towards the end of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and on top of that, I'm also getting very close towards the end of the entire completion of Super Mario RPG as a remake. So because of that though, yeah, and I'm really looking forward to able to actually decide able to get not only the new Princess Peach game, and I'm sure that most other toys has already mentioned about this already, but also with the forms of Luigi's Mansion 2, so we can finally get a chance to able to not only play the game on the go again, but this time on the Nintendo Switch, within the forms of the most comfortable control scheme in my opinion, but also about the fact that we can pretty much guarantee to do a Let's Play of Luigi's Mansion 2 now, rather than just trying to able to invest myself with the 3DS capture device, because despite the fact that the 3DS capture card these days is actually getting super duper expensive, especially noticeable that every time whenever it does pop up on eBay every once in a while, that I just can't afford it, especially noticeable because concerning I would have loved to able to actually have one of these, but it's just about the fact that it's pretty darn expensive, and not only that, it's actually rather hard to get these days, so... But that's the perfect example of how, about the fact it's a good thing that as far as what Jewel has already mentioned about this quite a few times, since in Metroid Zero Mission, that it's nice to able to actually go back into the Luigi's Mansion games for not only about the fact that we've already done the first game since Journey Forms have been about a month ago, but it's also about the fact that it's nice that we can able to actually catch up on the entire trilogy. Same applies with the forms of maybe eventually we're able to actually do some Splatoon stuff in the future, and especially noticeable with the forms of the Pikmin chronological kind of games or something. So ranging between, you know, Pikmin 1, 2, 3, and 4. The only exception is, of course, Pikmin Bloom, and especially noticeable with Hey Pikmin, because I need to afford a capture card for my 3DS or something. So, oh well, not the end of the world personally though, but that's just because about the fact that, well, I'm just still very happy about the fact that we can now finally do Luigi's Mansion 2, well, exponentially for next year, so... Anyways, there's Gopher right here, but before we talk to him, we need to go ahead and just obtain that particular honey pot that just popped up during the actual fence.
Oh, bother. I can't seem to pull the shovel out of the ground. I suppose I shall need some help.
And it looks like we can't budge the actual shovel because it seems it might be too hard to able to actually get full strength for ourselves. So, relatively speaking, we do need to able to talk to Gopher to give us a helping hand. So, that'll be the part of the plan. So, but either way though, let's grab ourselves the next music note. So just in case we can able to get for a full completionist. But again, it's purely simple to able to actually obtain certain, not only honey pots, but also with these music notes as well. I'm pretty sure on the Game Boy Advance version, doesn't seem to able to have these music notes as collectibles, although I may be wrong, but I'm sure that we'll let someone actually say in the comment section down below, especially noticeable that something tells me later on that I'm also going to be tackling for the Game Boy Advance version if someone commented on that, so, but we shall see what happens until in 2024.
Oh, Gopher, could you help me pull this shovel out?
Why, certainly. I'll push it up from below, and you grab it. Have to hurry, though. Can't help you for very long, you know. got rules about such things.
And from here, we come across into a time limit, which means you have to be fast.
Thank you, Gopher.
Well, glad to be of help, Sonny.
And now we've finally managed able to receive ourselves a shovel. So in some cases, now we can able to... Oh, wait a second, we can't go through here because, as I said before, depending on what birthday stages we're going to, as I said before, sometimes we have to go into a different route. So in some cases, though, about the fact that normally in Piglet's birthday, that normally we go through a bridge. So as a result, it doesn't seem to be possible during the forms of this particular stage as far as this is concerned. So, oh well, no big deal, but I suppose that traveling between different parts of the 100-acre wood wasn't nearly as slow compared to the forms of how it does it on maybe on the Game Boy Advance version. Although, mind you, despite the fact that it's been ages ago since I actually have last played the Game Boy Advance version, believe it or not. So, I apologize for that particular commentary. It gets a bit slightly awkward at this point today, aside from the fact that I've already mentioned about the forms of, I can't even believe it's been 3 decades old, or 3 decades ago, since when Wallace and Gromit, The Wrong Trousers, first came out on the actual TV airing. Especially noticeable, like I said before, I have a lot of nostalgic memories for that particular Wallace and Gromit short. Especially noticeable, I remember so much, ranging between those action scenes, and especially noticeable with the train chase sequence, which is always a pleasure surprise in my book. Especially noticeable, I remember watching that particular scene back to back. It's so thrilling, and even especially noticeable with this orchestrated music, it's super top notch. Although, mind you, I do prefer the original version of the actual soundtrack in my opinion, especially noticeable because I'm biased when it comes to the forms of nostalgia vibes to it, which you probably already know what I'm talking about here, especially noticeable concerning about, well, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the actual remastered music exponentially, but it's just that I'm just prefer the forms of the original OST and stuff like that, to me anyway, so... Anyway, now we can able to actually access to the next part. So in some cases though, about the fact that I wonder what's going to be involved on this next part. Especially noticeable that normally in Piglet's birthday, as I stated before, we've never actually get a chance to able to explore that particular part from earlier. So yeah, it looks like that we still need to able to try to avoid as many of those heffalumps and woozles, and exponentially we'll try to able to trying to run away from those particular heffalumps and woozles here to able to just try to flee. Although sometimes though, as I said before about the fact that sometimes, you know, the frame rate might tend to dip at one point, so... Meaning about the fact there might be a bit too much chaotic moments here and there, so... Now I think something tells me with the forms of Rue's birthday present, it's going to be Tigger themed related, so... Because after all, ever since in the Tigger movie, that he did mention about the fact that, despite the fact that it's been a very long time since I actually have last watched the Tigger movie, since the DVD version, back in the forms have been a long time ago, but I do remember that one particular part where Rue just really wishes that he'll be like a brother like a Tigger and stuff like that, so... That could be the reason for it, I guess. So, again, despite the fact that I'm a little bit rusty when it comes to, like, remembering certain Winnie the Pooh movies, the only time exception is, of course, Winnie the Pooh 2011, and especially noticeable with the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and on top of that, with all the other films as well, like Piglet's Big Movie and all that stuff, so yeah, that might be saying something, at least as far as, you know, remembering certain parts here and there, so, anywho though, so, yeah, let's just go ahead and search for that another music note right here, so we can exponentially notice. I believe we did somehow manage to obtain every single music notes now, so either way, that should be a piece of cake in my book, especially noticeable, again, pretty easy to able to spot certain visual identity to where, you know, music notes can be located, and also with the forms of honey parts as well, so, now I think fundamentally speaking though, is about the fact that we've almost finishing up you know, collecting any other honey pots during the course of Rue's birthday. So, but then again though, until later on though, in Tigger's birthday, as well as Eeyore's birthday, and especially Pooh's birthday, obviously the actual game's length for certain stages might feel a bit lengthy, especially noticeable if you decide to go after, you know what I'm saying, every single collectibles, you know, with music notes, as well as the forms of honey pots, and you know the rest.
Oh, hello, Tigger.
Hello there, Pooh.
Tigger, I was just wondering, do you think you could teach Roo how to do your whoop-de-dooper bounce for his birthday?
Of course I can, Pooh. After all, bouncing's what Tiggers do best, but first, I need your help. See, I started bouncing and now, well, I can't stop.
I see. But how can I help you, Tigger?
Well, if you took this key, you might find something useful to unbounce me over by my house.
Oh. Oh, bother. The key dropped. But I shall go and look for it. Goodbye, Tigger.
Well, speaking of Tigger, we did somehow manage to bump into him, so yeah, we do need able to figure out something for Tigger, just in case about the fact that we can able to actually grab certain items, so just in case we can able to fix him up. So, anywho though, there's another thing I should probably explain about this, exponentially speaking, and that is about the fact that, well, I think I'm also very close towards the end of WarioWare Move It as well, just in case it might be a perfect opportunity and during that time until 2024 roll around. That as far as what some toys has already mentioned about this already, that way you can pretty much guarantee we can able to do not one, but 2 WarioWare Let's Plays in also in next year as well. So, it will be pretty fun, right? Especially noticeable because concerning I love WarioWare stuff. The only few exceptions, mind you, which is obviously WarioWare Snapped because of this stupid camera function decides able to not work with me properly. And on top of that, with the forms of Game & Wario, because it plays nothing like the WarioWare game for me, because as far as I'm aware, I think I've already pointed things out ever since in a couple of weeks or months ago, and especially noticeable with just anything else for that resides. Especially noticeable about the fact that, gee, no wonder why that Game & Wario is still going to be pretty expensive nowadays, even with, you know, brand new sealed copy of the actual game, especially noticeable with some low sales is actually going to be on top of that too. So, anywho, there's also another explanation I should probably explain about this as well, and during around that time until tomorrow in some cases though, that the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic episode called Bats, exponentially until tomorrow in some cases though, that episode will eventually become about 10 years old during that time. I mean, jeez, after looking back on it though, despite the fact that it still is a bummer though, that that particular episode was never been released on DVD physical format on the UK's release for that regard, because I was expecting they were able to actually include that episode somewhere, but unfortunately though, it's been removed entirely during the course of throughout the majority of the DVD compilations on Season 4 in some cases though, which, as a result, I do remember testing out the customized DVD, which does manage able to incorporates the forms of customizing my DVD menus and all that stuff, and it's pretty rough around the edges, I'm telling you, especially noticeable. I'm pretty sure that I somehow managed able to install the program for free. Now I think that's the perfect example of why that I've never actually made custom-made DVDs for quite some time at this rate, especially noticeable because that stupid little program logo just somehow blocks the viewing, so that could be the primal reason for it. So either way, so it looks like we've made our way to Tigger's house exponentially ever since in Piglet's birthday, except now we got to do some different stuff and all that stuff. So anyway, so before we do with all that stuff, let's go ahead and grab some more honey pots, and exponentially, I think we are basically done for every single honey pots, as far as I'm aware, in Rue's birthday stage. So, and exponentially we're able to actually give some more honey pots to these bees, so exponentially we can able to actually, like, grab something in here, so...
Oh.
And there we go, we got ourselves a bit of a bucket right there, so... Yeah, I'm guessing about the fact that I think Tigger's basically just did non-stop bouncing, so I guess we're not able to actually just make him stop bouncing too much. I'm presuming so anyway. But then again, though, it's been about a couple of hours since I've last played this, so... And quite frankly, though, also about that time, along with the forms of some WarioWare stuff in the future, for doing Let's Plays department, we can pretty much guarantee we can able to still continue things on in journey forms of not only some Metroid stuff here and there as well, but maybe some Zelda Let's Plays in the future. I'm not exactly 100% sure, because again, I'm not going to spoil things too much.
No.
Oh, thank goodness. You know I love bouncing, but stopping's good too. And now I can go... Oops. I think we got another predicament.
Oh, dear. Don't worry, Tigger. I shall go and ask Rabbit for help.
Oh, thanks, Pooh Boy. I'm sure old Long Earth has just the thing for unsticking a Tigger.
Oh, and by the way, there's also another example of why that my commentary gets a bit slightly awkward at this point as well. It's most notably because, unfortunately, my laptop is decided able to go ahead and lag again, which is always, you know, very annoyingly consistent at one point, which should be expected at this point. So, anyway, so now we've actually got the bucket and what have you, so I suppose that we can pretty much guarantee we can able to actually backtrack for a bit, so just in case we can able to actually grab something else entirely or something. Well, again, it's been about quite a few hours, because obviously I'm still be playing through Super Mario RPG on the Switch, which, again, it is pretty awesome to be able to actually play Super Mario RPG on the go this time around on the Nintendo Switch, obviously, just because about the fact that now I can able to just fully exponentially trying to able to actually fully 100% everything on the go, rather than need to worry about stuck indoors all day. Especially noticeable because, relatively speaking, that's the perfect example of why that everyone else is keep on buying Nintendo Switches these days. Especially noticeable because, again, it's doing super duper well when it comes to the forms of sales numbers and also with certain game library stuff as well. So, you know, you probably get the idea about that. So, anyway, so something tells me about the fact I could possibly able to actually go ahead and, actually, kind of think about it. Let me just go ahead and go back a little bit. So just in case about the fact that there are certain things I was missing and stuff like that. Although exponentially speaking though, sometimes though, I haven't exactly memorized this game all that much. Even compared to Piglet's Big Game. That I do memorize everything about it in truly forms of Piglet's Big Game, despite how easy and short that is. Well, despite the fact that in Tigger's Dream it's still ridiculously long, because obviously that place is huge and everything. So exponentially though, that, you know, as I said before, since in Dreamy forms have been yesterday's video, that I have a lot of fake memories of this game, especially noticeable that again, the only one I do remember back in the day is, of course, the Game Boy Advance version, but then again, we'll talk about the Game Boy Advance version during at some point and later down the road, during the course of the, let's just say in 2024 or onwards, assuming, of course, as someone said in the comments section down below, that basically they want to suggest me to do the Game Boy Advance version as well, just like what we did for Piglet's Big Game in both the console version and the Game Boy Advance version, so that might be seems the case, at least as far as for my predictions as far as this is concerned. So, anyway, so we'll just backtrack towards in Tigger's house, so just in case about the fact that there are certain parts I was missing. So, anyway, in addition to that though, is about the fact that, well, I don't know actually, because that's as far as I can usually say about this for this point, guys. Although, then again, I would have liked able to explain something else entirely, but then again, I should probably save that particular more continuation conversations and during at some point until, as I said before, specifically until the next couple of days.
Excuse me, Rabbit, but I don't suppose you might have something that I could use to unstick Tigger?
Oh, I have just the thing. This stick is perfect for unsticking things. Now, if I could just get this machine to work.
Could I help?
Oh, yes. You must push these levers in the right order. But I've forgotten what order that is.
Alright, so something tells me about the fact that with those sparkle effects in mind, we need to able to put up a right combination. So in some cases though, You can't do it from likely the left all the way to the right. Likely also about the fact that, so I was trying to show you guys something. Like, for instance, if you activate the switch from left, middle, or right, I don't think this combination work.
Nope, no, that wasn't the right combination. Let's see. Try it again, Pooh. I'm sure we'll get it this time.
So instead, I suppose we need to start from the right, at least if I'm assuming so anyway. Again, mind you, I haven't exactly remembered this game all that much. And exponentially the left, and the middle will be for last. So, yeah, it's a very simple puzzle when you manage to able to get it down with. So, there we go.
Hooray! My machine is working again. Thank you, Pooh Bear. I almost forgot. Here's the stick to help you unstick Tigger. Well, now I must get back to watering my carrots.
And upon doing so, we finally got ourselves the stick, which allows us to able to unstick Tigger, because apparently though about the fact that he got stuck into the glue or something. So now we can able to actually finally fix him up. So exponentially we need to backtrack yet again, so yeah, that might be seems the case. So, and I'm very surprised that we're actually getting very close towards the end of Rue's birthday, believe it or not. Although something tells me about the fact that we might able to actually come across into a yet another gameplay style. For those of you who ever played Piglet's Big Game before, you know exactly what is expecting to coming up. So in some cases though, let's go ahead and rescue Tigger.
Thank you, Pooh. You're the bestest buddy bear a fella could have. Pooh?
No bother. Now I'm stuck.
Don't worry, buddy bear. I'll go get Gopher. He's kind of handy at unsticking things, you know.
Well, it looks like Pooh just got stuck in the actual, like, Gopher's hole or something. So in some cases, now we actually have ourselves the third playable character during the course of in Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly adventure. That's what appears to be Tigger himself.
Well, I'd better be real stealthy-like, so's nobody sees me.
So exponentially, for those of you who ever played Piglet's Big Game before, basically Tigger plays out pretty much like in Piglet's Big Game. Once again, it's stealth-based, except this time, unfortunately though, Tigger's been nerfed ever since in Piglet's Big Game this time around. Because for one, you can't speed things up, because obviously about the fact that you can no longer bounce during the course of whenever you're trying to able to just avoid any heffalumps and morsels and all that stuff. And similar to the forms of how it does it in Piglet's Big Game, if you get caught by the forms of certain searchlights for not only heffalumps and morsels, but also with the forms of other encounters as well, basically you will slow down. However, here's a catch to this time around, that basically, if you screw up one of those particular segments, basically though, there's no penalty for you to go all the way back to the beginning. So because of this though, let's say for example right there, if you get caught right there, basically though you get a slow movement, and jeez, that heffalump managed to run too fast right here. Although exponentially, if you get scared, obviously you're able to, well, as I said before, luckily you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning of the actual portion this time around, which I suppose that's definitely a little bit generous in this game this time around. So instead, you can able to actually continue where you left off during the course of this particular section. So yeah, that might be super generous, especially noticeable about the fact that whilst unlike in Piglet's Big Game, it will be pretty punishing if those of you able to actually get caught by the forms of either heffalumps or worsels or anything, and exponentially speaking though, you have to start all over from square one.
Hey, you're just a gopher I was looking for. Old Pooh Bear's stuck in one of your gophery type holes.
Sounds like a job for someone with my excavation skills. I'll get right on it.
Oh, thanks, Gopher. Well, I guess I'll just wait for you here then.
And plus, not to mention, unlike in Piglet's Big Game, that certain sections for Tigger's stealth section is actually very lengthy, whilst in here this time around, not only it's super duper short, but also is a lot more easier and generous as well, so...
Yep, there you are. And, watch where you're going next time.
That's very good advice, Gopher. Thank you.
Now, Sonny, I think that Tigger fellow's waiting for you.
Now, strangely enough, in regards to the forms of playing as Tigger in this game, that his loading screen's colored this time around, which appears to be green, which normally in Piglet's big game, he does have an orange loading screen. I'm guessing because about the fact that in this particular game's case, that we have to go for a different variety when it comes to loading screen colors and stuff like that. So, oh well, I suppose bakers elves can be choosers, I guess, so... And exponentially we'll have to once again avoid more heffalumps and woozles, and exponentially we'll try to able to touch the balloon, and then exponentially that'll pretty much takes care for this particular segment, so... But then again though, you have to do this a lot by the way, if you really want to go for later levels to come, so... There we go, that pretty much takes care of it from here. I'm not exactly sure what really happens if you dare manage to ignore the heffalumps or woozles, and especially noticeable if you managed able to ignore the balloon. Well, I suppose I'll find out off screen, or anything else to be more potential, or someone might say in the comment section, so... Oh jeez, we got to do this again? Although, to be fair though, we're actually getting very close towards the end of this particular Rue's birthday scenario, so... What I thought was a little bit weird is that there's no Piglet to be found. I'm guessing maybe that we might also see Piglet again, at some point on the next birthday stage, possibly for, Tigger's birthday or something, which exponentially that we might come across into that familiar gameplay style, for those who ever played Piglet's big game before.
We gotta hurry, Pooh Bear. Little Rue's birthday party is just about ready to get started. Happy birthday, Rue!
Tigger! Pooh! You're here!
Well, of course we are, little Rue. And we got here just in time for me to teach you the whoop-de-dooper bounce.
Oh, Tigger! That would be the best birthday present ever!
And indeed, Pooh remembered that Rue's birthday party was a great success.
And with that, that basically wraps up everything in Rue's birthday, so... Yeah, it feels like we're actually getting very close to the halfway point of this game already. But then again though, don't be surprised to be likely a huge game or anything. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, we should probably explain more details about this and during that some form or another. So, and exponentially we can now able to actually access to the actual next birthday, which presumably we can now able to also potentially try to able to unlock the next minigame on top of that as well. So with that being said, we got the endings of this point right here. So join me tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly adventure. That is about the fact that we're about to able to go into Tigger's birthday next. And exponentially we can also able to actually access the Eel's birthday as well. But we should probably focusing on Tigger first because of the actual chronological order for that particular stage order. So I'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas.